Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new limited edition CR7 324K Nike Mercurial Superfly 4s. Now, as you guys can see, they do come in a special box. The box is black in color. You have the CR7 branding right there on the lid with a gold Nike swoosh in the middle. I'm going to give you guys a quick look at the label as well because it is a limited edition release. It says Mercurial Superfly CR, which stands for Cristiano Ronaldo, SE, which stands for Special Edition, and then FG, which stands for Firm Ground. The pair I have is my size, a 9 US. The official colorway is listed as white, black, and metallic vivid gold, and the retail price, for those that may be wondering, is $300 US. So these were technically $25 more than the regular colorways of the Superfly 4, just like the regular CR7 colorway editions as well. So remove the lid, and on the inside, they do include a string bag to go along with the shoes. The string bag is really cool. It's white in color with black strings. You're gonna find a sparkly black Nike swoosh on the front, and then that gold Vapor 3 graphic at the bottom that matches what you're gonna find on the shoes. And then on the back of the bag, it's pretty much solid white in color, aside from the black CR7 logo right there at the bottom. Other than that, all you're gonna find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly, and we'll take a closer look at this very special, very good looking colorway of the Mercurial Superfly 4. Now, this shoe released exclusively on the Nike Football or Nike Soccer app, depending on which part of the world that you're in. The US release date, which is the one I participated in, was on January 9th, I believe, if I remember correctly. I tried to get them there, completely struck out, was unable to get them. It seemed like they sold out pretty much immediately. I think if you're in the UK, you had a slightly better chance at getting them. But for the most part, they were fairly limited and they weren't exactly easy to get. But there are tons and tons of them on the resale market. So if you go on eBay, there are lots for sale. Some people are asking some crazy amounts of money for these things. Is this as limited as the previous variation of the CR7 kind of limited edition Superfly colorways? No. The last one, the Ballon d'Or one, which I do have a video on if you want to check that out. I'll leave an annotation on screen. Those were limited to 333 pairs and individually numbered. This time around, Nike did not give us any indication on how limited they are. They're not individually numbered. Obviously, they're more limited than a regular colorway, but just keep in mind that the retail price was $300, so I think really any more than $350 or $400, if you're buying these shoes to actually wear them and you're kind of trying to get them for a decent price, I think that's pretty fair, but anything more than that, that is excessive in my opinion. They're definitely not worth $1,000 or some of the crazy prices that people are asking for these things. So in today's video, we're going to be basically going over all the details on this particular shoe. Very cool colorway, very cool inspiration for the shoe as well. We're going to take a look at the weight. We're going to kind of do a regular review video like I normally would on the Superfly 4, because ultimately at the end of the day, aside from some different graphics and colorway variations, this is just a regular pair of Superfly 4. So if you're interested in learning more about the 324K CR7 Superfly, stick around, watch the entire video. Again, if you're interested in a pair, it was a limited edition thing. You're going to have to buy them in the resale market. So be very careful with what you're buying. Don't pay too much money and make sure you know what you're buying, because there's lots of counterfeit ones out there as well. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway and all the cool little details that comes with the 324K edition of the Superfly 4. Now, this shoe was released to celebrate 324 goals that Ronaldo has scored for Real Madrid, which is an all-time club record. Now, with that being said, this is actually part of a pack. This being the first of the pack, the second shoes in the pack, which features a silver upper and kind of like a burgundy red heel with kind of the same design. Those are going to be coming out in March, I believe, in similar fashion. Limited numbers exclusively on the Nike Soccer/Football app. So if you look at the insoles, which I've already removed, one of them says 324, which kind of ties into this particular colorway. And then the other one says 500, which ties into the milestone of Ronaldo scoring 500 goals all-time period for both club and country, I believe. I could be wrong on that one, but that's kind of what the other colorway represents in this particular pack. So with this colorway, the reason why it looks the way it does is it's inspired by one of two of Ronaldo's personal favorite Mercurial Vapors, both of which happen to be Mercurial Vapor 3s in terms of the colorway inspiration. So as you guys can see, this looks like the launch colorway of the Mercurial Vapor 3, which unfortunately I don't have. It is, in my opinion, the best colorway of the Vapor 3 and probably one of the best looking Mercurials Nike has ever put out. So to see it remade in the form of a Superfly 4, that's pretty cool. For those that don't know what a Vapor 3 looks like, I do have one pair right here. This is obviously not the same colorway, but you get the idea. It's solid at the front, and then it does have this kind of interesting graphic at the heel, which is not completely the same on the Superfly 4, but it's replicated in such a way that you can definitely tell that the two have similar tie-ins as far as designs and graphics go. I think it would have been really cool if they did a small Nike swoosh on the Superfly 4 like the Vapor 3 had, but obviously it maintains the same Nike swoosh positioning as a regular pair of Superflies. You just get that additional graphic there at the heel in that vivid metallic gold, which looks really, really good. It has some shine to it. It's not the metallic gold coin that we've seen before from Nike, and it's not just a regular kind of matte gold. It has a slightly shiny finish to it, but again, just looks really, really nice, and it kind of has this cool kind of fade effect as it goes from the heel into the rest of the boot, where eventually it's kind of like a sparkly white color. So what's interesting about the sparkle is obviously we've seen that before in CR7 signature colorways. The white part of the upper, which is the Nike skin covering, is white, but it has like a glossy sparkle to it. With that being said, it's not kind of sparkle finish. It actually is just a regular Nike skin layer. So none of that sparkle in the white is actually going to wear off. With that being said, you're going to notice that the Nike swoosh on both the front and back of the shoe is that sparkly material that will actually wear away. So they don't include any tags letting you know that the sparkle effect on this or the glitter effect on the actual Nike swoosh will wear off over time. I suppose they could have done that, but it's not entirely necessary given that this was a limited edition release. A lot of people who bought these are buying them as collector's items. Could you wear them? Absolutely, but just keep in mind that the actual glitter effect on the swoosh will wear off over time, but in brand new condition, it looks absolutely incredible. It really is a nice little effect, and it's kind of like a raised texture to it. It's kind of sitting on top, an extra layer of Nike skin to give it that different glittery finish. So you kind of have two different levels of glitter in the white and then a slightly more intense glitter in the black, which is a cool little detail. So you can see you have your ACC branding in black, which is kind of the norm. On the back of the shoe, you're going to find more of that glitter running down the back of the collar as well as the back of the heel. You can see it does say CR7 in gold as well as the Mercurial branding. I know the pair that he's worn, Cristiano Ronaldo himself, his obviously has the modified collar. And also the heels were different on his shoes. One had CR7 and the other one actually had kind of a silhouette of him in gold doing his kind of signature goal celebration. That's not something that's included on this particular shoe, so keep that in mind. That's kind of a special makeup for him only. So if you do actually get a pair of these, regardless of which pair it is, they're both going to have the CR7 branding on the heel as opposed to the little silhouette of him. Other than that, you're going to find an interesting choice of kind of like a heather gray and white as well as black combo in the actual exposed Flyknit on the upper, which I actually think looks really, really good with the white, black, and gold on the rest of the shoe. That's also included in the laces. And then of course you do have the black ring across the top of the collar. Moving to the mid area, you're gonna see that it does have this kind of neat fade where the top kind of line where the actual outsole meets the sole plate is gold, and then it eventually fades to white in the forefoot, which is a nice little extra detail you don't really notice until you hold the shoe in your hands. And then the bottom, that signature carbon fiber sole plate as you would expect on any Superfly 4, a gold Nike swoosh in the forefoot, and then some of the studs are black and some of the studs are white, kind of again just tying into the rest of the colorway. So overall, really, really good looking shoes. I'm a big fan. Probably the best looking Superfly 4 that they've put out so far, in my personal opinion. But let me hear your opinion down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. As far as performance is concerned, the Superfly 4 is pretty well proven at this point. It's very popular for a reason. It truly does perform the part and provides a very unique experience. In terms of actual performance, if you guys would be interested in seeing these things in action, there's a playtest video and a traction test video, both of which I'll leave annotations to on screen. So again, if you haven't seen those, go ahead and watch them. You may find them enjoyable as well as informative. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to go over all the tech specs that you should know about if you're planning on picking up a pair of Superfly 4s. So obviously the upper is made from Flyknit and also features this mid-cut design. The Flyknit upper is structured in all the areas that are covered in Nike skin, so the parts that are solid white. That's the part of the shoe where the Flyknit is a little bit more dense. There is reinforcement internally in terms of just extra kind of microfiber layers, mainly through the midfoot, not so much in the forefoot area. And then you're also going to find Brio cables, which kind of are like Flywire. It's these little cables that run from the base of the sole into the lacing system. They're kind of knitted within the actual Flyknit structure. So when you pull the laces tight, it pulls on those cables, pulls on that internal support frames, and kind of locks everything in place, making for a surprisingly responsive sensation from a knitted upper that actually is quite soft and flexible, and definitely on the thinner side. As far as touch is concerned, the shoe is not quite as thin as what you're going to get from the Vapor 10, which is a Teijin synthetic upper, a lot thinner, really no extra padding to it. If you want kind of a pure barefoot sensation, the Vapor 10 is the way to go. Whereas if you want something that is, I guess, a little bit more sock-like in terms of how it feels. It's very thin, it's very flexible, it's very natural in terms of how it moves with your foot, especially once broken in. And it's also very thin, but it does have a very slight padded sensation to it just because of the knitted material that it's made out of. Now, the shoe does also feature ACC all conditions control, which is supposed to act as a wet control element. Does it have a major impact on performance? No, but it's nice that they do include it. As far as the exposed Flyknit areas of the shoe are concerned, you can see that running across the middle of the shoe as well as in the collar. This Flyknit is actually elasticated, so it's stretchy, kind of stretches out to where it needs to be and then kind of bounces back into its original shape once the shoe is on your foot. It makes for a nice snug sensation even prior to tying the laces, but again, the laces are necessary in order to hold everything in place. The mid-cut design obviously is kind of a controversial one in terms of being a little bit misleading in terms of what it actually offers. It's more of a look thing as opposed to something that has any tangible performance advantage, because there isn't any to that. There's no ankle support here. There's really not much in the way of protection other than just an extra layer of material. It's more so a different type of fit and feel where the shoe obviously extends past your ankle ever so slightly and gives you kind of a more seamless transition where the shoe feels like it flows from your ankle onto your foot as opposed to something that's just being strapped to your foot. Does that lead to complications with other things? Yes, it changes the fit of the shoe, especially in the heel, but that's something we'll talk about a little bit later in the video, so stay tuned for that. You have an internal plastic heel counter at the back. Internally, there is a smooth synthetic leather liner on the inside with some padding, not too much if I'm completely honest with you guys. The insole, fully removable. This one is actually a little bit different on this particular colorway versus a regular Superfly 4, but again, the difference is minimal. It does have a mesh liner on top. That's a slightly different mesh pattern, but again, not something you're really gonna notice when you're wearing them. It's the exact same foam, but it doesn't have the perforation. So again, a minor difference in comparison to a regular pair of Superflies, but not something that you're honestly going to notice when wearing the shoes. And then of course, moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern. The sole plate is made from carbon fiber. Very cool looking, definitely on the thinner side and flexible in all the right places. So really, really good sole plate. And then of course, the Mercurial stud pattern. It's part of the reason why the Mercurial series has been popular for so long now. It's very good on firm natural grass. And if you're looking for just really good aggressive multi-directional traction on natural grass playing surfaces, any of the Mercurial models, whether it's the Superfly or any of the takedowns, they all have the same stud pattern and all will provide very, very good traction. So that's pretty much it as far as tech specs and performance features. If you guys are interested in even more info, be sure to check out the written review on my website. That'll be the very first link down below. And with that being said, let's move on to a quick weigh-in so we can see how lightweight these guys are. In terms of weight, the Superfly 4 is light as you'd expect. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to be weighing them for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. We're going to throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.2 ounces, the equivalent of 205 grams. So that's pretty much the exact same weight as the Magista Obra. If you do want a slightly lighter shoe, the Vapor 10 is actually lighter than the Superfly 4 by almost a full ounce. So that will provide the more kind of lightweight barefoot experience in my opinion. But again, if you want that Flyknit upper, the mid-cut design, the very interesting fit and feel that the Superfly 4 has on offer, other than maybe the Magista Obra, which is kind of a different shoe, there really isn't anything else like the Superfly 4 in terms of what it has to offer when it comes to feel. All right, so here is a look at the Superflies on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock gray laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of metallic black reflective SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, like I mentioned earlier, aside from the colorway, this is just a regular pair of Superfly 4s, so there's really no difference at all. In terms of the overall fit and feel, obviously it's a tighter fitting shoe. It is, of course, a Mercurial. And if you haven't worn a mid-cut model from Nike before, what you'll immediately notice is kind of an unusual tightness in the heel area. It feels very firm and not necessarily the most comfortable thing in the world, but after some wear time, as long as you take things nice and slow, don't wear them straight into a game or straight into a free kick session, I would say after a few hours or so, they'll feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more natural, and your foot will just kind of get used to how they fit, and you're unlikely to have any kind of discomfort issues from there. Like I said, once you get used to them, you're not gonna have any problems, but just take things slow at first, even with a brand new pair, even if you have worn a mid-cut shoe from Nike before. Again, it's always good to take things slow during the break-in process with a brand new pair of shoes. As far as width is concerned, given that it is a tighter fitting shoe, and given that you have Brio cables running through the midfoot area of the shoe, it's really not going to stretch. The way the shoe fits from out of the box is the way it fits for its entire lifespan. Even the Flyknit in the forefoot toe box area really isn't going to expand. So it's a tighter fitting shoe, not necessarily ideal for wider foot types, but for the most part, they'll fit most people. If you've worn Mercurials in the past, which a lot of people have, you shouldn't have any issues fitting into the Superfly 4 whatsoever. As far as the mid-cut design is concerned, again, doesn't offer any performance benefits, doesn't really take away from ankle flexibility or anything like that. It's something that honestly, once you get used to the shoes, you don't really notice at all. It's more of a visual thing as opposed to something that you're actually going to feel and something that's going to impact your experience with this particular shoe. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the 324K CR7 limited edition Nike Mercurial Superfly 4s. Again, if you guys are interested in more info on this shoe, you can go ahead and check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find the high quality images of this exact pair that'll give you a better idea as to how they actually do look in person. And as far as getting a pair for yourself is concerned, if you would like to do that, unfortunately, you're gonna have to venture into the resale market where you have to be very, very careful because there are lots and lots of counterfeits of this particular colorway out there. So if you do plan on buying these from a reseller, make sure you know exactly what you're getting. Do your research, and like I said, just be very, very careful. If you have any questions at all regarding this particular pair, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description of this video as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.